So we are seeing this blitz in swing states. How critical are the undecideds and the independent voters when it comes to this election?
Well, independents will decide the election. The unfortunate thing for us in this business who do this is that we really don't have a good sense of what probably more accurate polling is. Because if you go back at least until June, it was the Morning Consult and I believe Politico published a poll that found 62% of independents did not believe that Kamala Harris could beat Joe Biden. About 51% of independents didn't think she would make a president. About 34% of independents believe that she should not be vice president today. So it's very difficult at that time. So those numbers probably have changed since then, but we really don't have a good sense. The vice presidents, I don't think that it'll be decided with the vice presidents. It's going to be at the top of the ticket, but the polling shows thus far that Kamala Harris is competitive. And in some states, she's actually beating Donald Trump, but that's what we got to work with at this point.
Yeah, so speaking of the VP choices and their impact on this, David, I'd like to throw this to you. New numbers coming in that in the first 24 hours since Tim Walz was announced as Harris's running mate, the team raised $36 million. I mean, the VP choices, how likely are they to impact, more fundraising, impact the ultimate vote in November? And do we normally see this level of interest in who is rounding out the ticket compared to past elections?
Well, I think there's so much interest in this campaign, in this race, and I don't think the VP will put it over the top. But hey, every vote counts in this election. All the polls are coming back that it's a razor thin margin, no matter where you look. So everything matters. And I think Kamala Harris and the Walz campaign, they have momentum at their back. The wind is at their back. There's been a surge of enthusiasm from Democrats around the country that want to support Kamala, that want to support Governor Walz, and you see that. So it's exciting. I think that momentum is everything. And this is all leading up to the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. So we always get a boost from that. So momentum is on their side. And Donald Trump, unfortunately, he just hasn't added anything. You heard some of those people on the street that were interviewed by your reporters, and they're saying, look, I don't know anything that Donald Trump or J.D. Vance is going to do other than blame people and point out the problems. And Kamala and Governor Walz are putting forth a plan to deal with the economy, to deal with inflation, and to make sure that our communities are safe. And they have a record to run on.
All right, so Melik, let's go back to you. Let's zero in on this now VP candidate, Tim Walz. Democrats, we know, are highlighting his military background, his work as a teacher, his work as a football coach. But Republicans are saying that he is an extreme liberal. He's pushing this extreme liberal agenda. J.D. Vance attacking him, actually, over his military records. He accuses him of stolen valor. Let's listen to some of what he had to say.
When Tim Walz was asked by his country to go to Iraq, you know what he did? He dropped out of the Army and allowed his unit to go without him, a fact that he's been criticized for aggressively by a lot of the people that he served with. I think it's shameful to prepare your unit to go to Iraq, to make a promise that you're going to follow through, and then to drop out right before you actually have to go. He said we shouldn't allow weapons that I used in war to be on America's streets. Well, I wonder, Tim Walz, when were you ever in war? What was this weapon that you carried into war, given that you abandoned your unit right before they went to Iraq, and he has not spent a day in a combat zone? What bothers me about Tim Walz is the stolen valor garbage. Do not pretend to be something that you're not.
All right, so now, and it is important to note that J.D. Vance is a Marine veteran. Melik, do you think this is a winning strategy?
Well, I do know that veterans, and just across the board, there is something with veterans about people who serve. I'm not a veteran, so you'll never see me criticizing a veteran. I think it's more appropriate for a veteran to criticize a veteran. But I do know that there are some veterans on both sides of the aisle who have this issue when it comes to service or how someone left service. So I personally don't think that this is something that's good. But you will see this now fight between the vice presidents. And I just don't think that because either Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, they're not bringing experience to their vice presidential ticket. It is more so about optics. So we'll see when Kamala Harris sits for an interview. Maybe we'll have a better sense of where she is on some of the issues that people say that they support.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.